Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Training camp is finally here, everybody, and it's time to talk about a few things that could be bubbling during training camp and a crazy idea that just might work. First off, before you go any further, make sure you like the video and hit subscribe down below for great New York Jets content with live streams, of course, interviews, perhaps, and pre-recorded conversations just like this here on the channel. Again, like the video and subscribe. You know, in one of the last columns by Connor Hughes for The Athletic, as he transitions into his new gig, he did a piece that ranked the top Jets 2022 rookies in terms of their impact and importance to team success in 2022. Now, Jeremy Ruckert, of course, the former Ohio State tight end that was selected with the number 101 overall pick in the third round. The Jets acquired that from the Titans in that Jermaine Johnson trade up, and the Titans originally got that pick in the blockbuster A.J. Brown trade. You got to get out like a flow chart to catch up to all that. But nonetheless, they drafted Jeremy Ruckert. Now, he finished last in these rankings from Connor Hughes, but the praise was absolutely effusive from the top. Here's the full quote. Again, from Connor Hughes' piece on Jeremy Ruckert. Of all the players the Jets selected in this year's draft, the front office might be most giddy about Jeremy Ruckert. The Ohio State product has the raw talent to develop into a complete tight end and eventually one of the better players at the position in the NFL. The Jets never thought Ruckert would be there for them in the third round, so when he was, they jumped at the chance to draft him. Ruckert's future is brighter than his present, though. He's likely New York starter before the end of the 2024 campaign, but right now he has CJ Uzama, and Tyler Conklin ahead of him. He'll get game day reps, but not a ton, end quote. So obviously the Jets front office is giddy. They are excited about Jeremy Ruckert, and to be blunt, he is an absolute roster lock heading into training camp, along with the complete overhaul at the tight end position with Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzama, which was over $45 million in free agency, and then plus you throw in the number 101 overall pick in the 2022 NFL draft. But I've got a plan. I've got something I want to share with you guys, and you tell me what you think. Roster construction is super important. The Jets are going to have to find a way to carve down from 90 players where they're at now all the way down to a final 53 ahead of week 1. And I think one way that they could do it, one way that they could possibly make something happen is by maximizing Jeremy Ruckert. Now, right now, he's cryogenically frozen on the bench. There's nothing he's going to be able to do. You're going to have CJ Uzama and Tyler Conklin. I'm not sure if it's going to matter who's the quote-unquote starter between them because they're both going to get so many reps in this Mike LaFleur offense. But at the end of the day, Jeremy Ruckert isn't going to be able to make the impact that he's going to want to from the tight end position simply because of the fact that there's two guys higher than him in the hierarchy. Outside of injury, that's just not going to happen. He's, again, as I've kind of described before, cryogenically frozen on the bench. But actually, Mike LaFleur, the Jets offensive coordinator, spoke on the Flight 2022 docuseries, which gave us some behind-the-scenes intel on how the Jets felt about prospects and heading into the season. Mike LaFleur actually explained how Jeremy Ruckert could make an impact from day one, and that feeds into a crazy idea I have for this season. But let's throw that up on the big board here. We'll roll the footage. Here is the clip from Mike LaFleur, again, Flight 2022 docuseries, explaining how Jeremy Ruckert can actually make an impact from day one. Let's go to Mike LaFleur. Roll the footage.
When we met Jeremy, he unfortunately had the injury, but you could just tell he's a man. He's a grown man that has his priorities straight, and you can tell he loves football. So even without turning on the tape, which I hadn't seen any tape of him up until the Senior Bowl, you knew that. You knew you were going to get a man that's going to love football. Let's hope the tape matches it. Not very often in today's game can you see tight ends that are, can they get it done in the run game because frankly, their hands just not in the dirt. And when you turn on his tape, he didn't care about getting dirty. All right. He was going to be old school. He's a no break mentality. He never stops his feet on this. This is a pretty good player over here on the right side, the number 2 draft pick in the draft, and Aiden Hutchinson. And you don't see him stop right here on this cross step. We're going to ask him to do this quite a bit. And he doesn't stop his feet. He's old school in that way, and it's not just one clip against Michigan because that's their rival. It was all over the tape. Here it is a little bit earlier in the year, again cross sifting. We look for guys that are going to stop their feet and clinch a little bit. He doesn't, and he's going to continue delivering the blow. And it was over and over and over. Here he is, not cross sifting, but here he is inserting right here, stuff we're going to ask him to do, and he's able to get on the defender quick in great position and finish a guy. And he doesn't just it's not finished when he gets the guy on the ground. He's going to make you know that he's coming all freaking day.
And here's the thing with that. If you squint at some of that footage that Michael Ford just said, you can almost see a fullback with the sifting blocks, lead blocking, maybe you could see a fullback. And let me give you this idea. So Jeremy Ruckert's going to make the roster no matter what. Obviously, he's a third-round pick. So if he's going to make the roster no matter what, why not try to find a way to get him on the field? He was a third-round pick, for Pete's sake, and get him to make an impact. And the impact I believe he can make is what if, the ESPN, what if I told you, and play that music in the background, but what if I told you that Jeremy Ruckert could be the fullback for the Jets this year, the H-back, and that rotational tight end who is going to find a way on the field, whether red zone or situational football or what have you, and he's your fullback. If he can make that kind of impact in the blocking game. Now, if he can do that, then all of a sudden Nick Bodden, who's the current fullback on the roster, you can throw him aside, and all of a sudden you have a free roster spot to play with. Do you keep a fourth tight end, Lawrence Cager, Kenny Yeboah matchup? Do you keep an extra defensive lineman, perhaps, because the room is absolutely stacked? I'm glad I don't have to make those decisions on who to cut and who to move on from. The point is that it opens up your options to do whatever the hell you want. You keep 3 quarterbacks. You keep this, you keep an extra receiver, you keep an extra this, because the more feathers in your cap you have, the better. If you're keeping Ruckert no matter what, and he could try to make an impact from day one, then you much rather Ruckert be the guy that makes the impact than some guy named Nick Bodden, who's playing fullback. Now, no offense to Nick Bodden here, but I'm trying to maximize the roster, and that is a crazy way that they could be able to do it by making Ruckert that fullback, H-back, and everything. And of course, all of my entire plan rests on one key point. Jeremy Ruckert being healthy. Right now, he's not. He was placed on the NFI list, the non-football injury list ahead of camp. It's because he sustained a quote-unquote injury before training camp and before an NFL game, before an NFL practice, because this foot injury, plantar fasciitis, he suffered back at the Senior Bowl in January. Now, he's still battling it here in July, the lasting effects. But the Jets are playing it cautious with all their guys. Carl Lawson, was shown on there, George Fant, Mekhi Becton, and as I just mentioned, Jeremy Ruckert on the NFI list. Those other guys were PUP. But the point is, they're just playing it safe with all their guys heading into camp because they can afford that luxury. Again, they've got Tyler Conklin and CJ Uzama, who, again, CJ's on the PUP list as well. But the point is, they're playing it safe with all of these guys. But if Jeremy Ruckert is healthy, if he's good to go, if he's not, then you're going to have to throw my plan in the kaput pile and say, sorry, Boy Green, that is not going to happen. And you could say that. But you know what? If he is healthy, I think this is a plan that is crazy enough just to work. And I would love for that to open the door for one of my boys, Kenny Yeboah, who was exciting last year. Us fans were rooting for him. Or Lawrence Cager, for that matter, a guy I've been rooting for years to make the roster. This could open the door for one of those guys to have an even better chance to make the roster. All right, everybody, thanks for stopping by for a quick video. If you'd like to read more about this idea, I wrote about it for Heavy on Jets. The link to the article is down below. Please support our articles as well, as that helps put bacon on the table for my family. But with that being said, we're going to be having all kinds of training camp videos coming out on the channel with cool interviews with some special guests. Cough, cough. Stay tuned for the channel. I may or may not be hinting or suggesting at something. Plus, we'll do videos like this and, of course, live streams every week on the Jet Zone, a weekly New York Jets podcast talking to each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you comment down below. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think this could work? I'd love to hear your feedback, and, of course, we interact with you in the comment section. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on youtube.com/boygreen.